up, dorks? Shot Tank is back, baby. Basketball is back. Everything's awesome. Everything is great. The Wizards have already given up 145 points. And we're alive. Shot Tank is back. I apologize. My Wi-Fi is a little spotty. I'm no longer in the Sorare studio, so if this gets a little glitchy, I'm gonna blame what it felt like. I got a taste of the good stuff. Also, guys, before we introduce everybody, Milo Goes to College is here, and I gotta tell you, hadn't seen that name and for fucking ever, and it popped up yesterday in the chat. Made me feel so good. Milo, welcome back. He is the man who made me take a Malort shot. It was disgusting. All right, let's bounce around. Jeb took a sip. John, what's going on, man? How we doing, JBB?
We're good. I started my day off on the construction job site with a couple F-bombs on a pretty hefty phone call, and it's been, we're just been firing on all cylinders from there. So can't get any better.
Were you the recipient of the F-bombs, or were you dishing them out?
Oh no, I was the disher. I was the dishing them out.
Whoa. Wow, were we back from prison ready to party? All right, hell yeah, dude. I love that. Who knows? Maybe. John, were you? One more question, and then I won't make you break this down anymore. Were you yelling up or yelling down?
I was yelling up.
Hell yeah, dude.
Respect,
dude. Fucking fight the man.
Yeah,
man. Jeff, what's going on with you, man? How are you doing?
I'm doing good, dude. I barely worked today for the first time in I don't know how long. I just went to some retirement lunch/dinner. So I'm chilling.
Yeah, you in our chat, you said you were at a retirement dinner, and that would have been even early for East Coast time. Like there was like 1 p.m. Pacific time, and you were like, I'm at a retirement dinner. I was like, oh shit. That's real.
That's how chill I was. I lost all concept of time.
So that's how old that guy is.
That's good. That's good. You see what's going on with you, man?
Man, Raptors are up 5, so everything's good, man. Even though offense isn't looking as good as promised. So I think we're still working some things out, but just happy to be watching some NBA basketball again.
Dude, I watched a little bit of that in the first 5 minutes. Scotty Barnes was like, what if I just threw up? Like he was so bad those first 5 minutes, but then he rounded in, came in nice, looks okay now. It's good to be back. This is our third or fourth episode this year. I can't remember, but it's good to be back. Listen, if you're here for the Top Shot Talk, I just don't know if it's going to happen. I think collectively we're not just that we're having more fun with So Rare, but listen, if we every week come out and then say the same thing, I just feel like it's not good for anybody. It's not good for us. It's not good for you guys. No one's happy with that. So I think we're just going to focus on So Rare unless Top Shot introduces like a 3-paragraph roadmap. See, I'm already doing it. So we're going to focus on some So Rare stuff. I'll be honest, guys. I was live for 8 hours yesterday. So I didn't put a whole lot of thought into today's show, but I figured what we could do is maybe just zoom out a little bit.
You didn't get our pre-show agenda from you, Mike. So that's good.
Yeah,
I usually get that printed out. Make sure I have it ready.
Make pages and pages of notes.
Laminate it.
I don't share the agenda with you guys, but you should know by now that when I am hosting, it is a smooth ride. All right. Now, if one of you guys wants to take over the hosting responsibilities and then take us from thing to thing, by all means.
Fuck no.
Yeah, I know you're comfortable dropping F-bombs today, John, but don't steer them clear from me, all right, bro? I feel like it's too hard to wildly overreact to anything, but Jeb, I feel like we should clear some room for you to yell about LeBron for a little bit.
Oh, no. I mean, there's nothing to yell about. Look, I go after LeBron all the time, but it's like, dude, he's in year 21. What do people expect?
Yeah.
I in terms of predicting, I know we didn't do a show where we predicted rankings and over unders and awards and stuff and all that, but I before the season started, I predicted the Lakers were going to be the 9th seed. I was like, they make the play in, but it's dude, LeBron's 21. Even if he doesn't get injured, he can only do so much. Whether he's taking performance enhancing drugs or not, he's still not invincible. So,
you know what's funny? He actually looked like the best Laker last night, though. They were just kind of like, we can't play him this much, and
at least in the second half, he looked like the best.
Yeah, I mean that speaks more to Anthony Davis no showing in the second half. But did you guys watch much of either of last night's action?
Yeah, I watched all the first game and started the second game. But it was just so nice to see that like Denver is still looking just as good, and it's just as beautiful to watch them. I love just watching them run. Like I think high school coaches across the especially older ones were just like watching them run the flex action with just Jokic coming off the down screen and him tearing them up like 5 different ways in the way. And it's just like the most basic offensive thing and not complicated at all. And he was just like, oh, that's how good Jokic is. And
I think
he's playing up. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
No, go for it.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, everyone was kind of like, Jokic is playing up this whole thing where he doesn't care and all that. But that guy is so competitive. Like the clip with him and Jamal Murray, they played some stupid game with like the Denver broadcast one time. And he's just yelling at Jamal Murray.
Yeah.
And understand how the game worked. It was some stupid word game. And you just see how like competitive he is, that like he just loves like pretending not to.
I think he doesn't care about all the other stuff with the NBA. I think he's just such a purist of the sport. Because I think even like I think there were kind of memes going around of like pictures from Jokic during the ring ceremony, and people are like, "Oh boy, like he's gonna win another 4 rings." Like he like that is what makes him like excited. Like he just doesn't like all the nonsense that surrounds it these days. So
respect to that. Yeah, it was funny. Skeets even mentioned today. He was like, it's weird because like they're a quarter and a half goes by and you're like, man, Jokic really isn't having that like great of a game. And then you look up, he's like 29, 14, and 11. You're like, good Lord, man. He's just like, it comes so natural to him. John, you had put in the private chat that I totally forgot to look at this too. You like the new live when you are on Sorare and look at the live. This is pretty slick, huh?
Yeah. Dude, yeah, this is sweet. It shows you so you can go to like last night's game if you scroll up, I think a little bit.
You did uncheck. Yep.
Yeah. So like you can see when the game's over, and then so you can see what everybody scored, and then the little plus minus is what they performed against their cap, which I think is super sick.
Yeah. And you scroll down, it kind of organizes it for you even, which is nice.
If you scroll, like all the way to the bottom,
right side. No, if you
on the right side,
scroll down,
it just shows you like
overperformers,
and underperformers, which is just a super. I think I tweeted it out, or maybe I said in the group chat or something. But I was like, oh my gosh, this is gonna change like the way it's gonna make analyzing things from a Sorare lens so much easier.
Yeah, because that was one of the like annoying things where you're like constantly waiting for them to update a little bit. This is pretty nice. I hadn't mentioned even looked at this until you had said it, John. So like with the action that's live too, this seems like it's updating a little bit. Holy crap, Jalen Johnson, by the way. Just going Mike. Absolutely bonkers. I mean, I didn't think I thought he was gonna get like 24. I would have been like, hell yeah, dude, we crushed it.
It's crazy that Bay and him are correct. Like they were like supposed to be like, competing for that spot, and they're like, "Oh, we're like the 2 highest performing guys."
And everybody like
a turd,
just an absolute dookie, and LaMelo too. I mean, and shout out Steve Clifford for 5 minutes before the game being like, "Hey, BT Dubs, he's probably going to play 30 minutes, dickhead." But John, you mentioned it, right? Like, so we're seeing a lot of guys overperforming, right? But they're low caps, and we're seeing a lot of like the studs kind of put up some duds. We can go over to Magic and Rockets, and like Şengün's their highest scorer, and he's 5 under their cap. Like, I mean, holy crap, this is ugly stuff for most of them.
I mean, meanwhile, Dylan Brooks can't miss. He's 4 for 6 from 3, 5 for 7 overall. Like.
There you go. That's how you know it's broken. And Franz Wagner scored like the first 11 points, and I guess he hasn't scored since. Either that or he's got a fuck ton of turnovers. But Magic seem like they're pretty much in control. Yo, the Pistons started Killian Hayes. Did you guys see that? It's still happening. It's still happening where Killian Hayes is starting. But yeah, I don't know. This is pretty slick though. So shout out to the Sorare team for you know, upgrading that a little bit.
Doesn't seem like there's. So is there a way to look at the overall slate from here?
I haven't found that.
I haven't figured that out yet. I don't think there is.
Like you mean?
Yeah,
what do you mean?
No, I meant like if you could just look at like everybody's score in like a leaderboard, not of your lineups, but just of the players.
Got you.
Like last year, you could see the top scorers and then the top overperformers
and underperformers.
Like
I gotcha.
Of the whole slate at once instead of game.
Yeah.
Have you seen what Max Strus is doing?
Yeah, he's got 7-3.
Strus is loose, dude.
The Strus is loose. 7-3. Jaron Jackson Jr. God damn it. 9. And Zion has 5.
Oh gosh!
Dude,
wow!
I played Zion as my MVP instead of Kristaps. What a fatal mistake! Oh my gosh!
I really think these last few games are gonna go crazy tonight because like if they don't, then how do all 12 games like suck? That doesn't make sense.
From like a fantasy, I'll lose everything. I'll lose everything.
I mean, come on. I don't watch basketball. I just watch fantasy. But like all these guys suck. Like Halliburton's is doing all right.
Tatum's
and Tatum is doing all right.
And Cam Thomas, baby.
Yeah, but even Cam Thomas's score is only I guess he's got 40, so 39.
He's got 40.
It's just like, dude, on a 12-game slate, like there's supposed to be some people having some sick games, and it's not happening.
Well, Wemby hasn't played yet, John.
Oh, true. I know, dude. I know it's just so freaking cliche, but everybody's just so juiced to see him, dude.
I'm not gonna lie. I think we can see where we're at about 9:40 Eastern time, but we might be wrapping a little early so we can go watch Wemby and Luka. Especially since, as already highlighted, I didn't prepare anything. Any other like high level macro, if I was Mets, macro takeaways from like the start of the Sorare season? I don't they didn't really have too many announcements yesterday. I saw Rob Perez, Worldwide Wob, did a Spaces today with Sorare that was pretty like, I mean, they did a good job, but it wasn't like there was no reason for us to tune in. Because we're aware of what's going on. But like any other like things you wanted to pull from the last couple of days up to game week 1?
I personally did some housekeeping, some house cleaning.
Getting ready for the baby.
My collection. Yeah. I mean, we're doing a lot of that, but with my collection, I kind of went through because I hadn't been super locked in over the off season. I hadn't been buying anything or whatever, and so I was just going to try to roll out what I had, and I just kind of cleaned up some of the limiteds, sold some things off. I mean, the nice thing about Sorare is it is freaking super liquid. Like it is pretty easy to sell stuff, and they made it a lot easier to sell stuff now. When you go to list it, you can see the recent sales, which is super important. And then the other thing that they have, which is great, is just like really active offers. And like I think there's like some a bunch of bots and shit that like try to figure that stuff out. And for me, it's like I don't really care if I'm going to come in a little bit low. I'm just trying to grab some bucks, get these useless players out of my collection, and be able to kind of start firing, in the upcoming weeks on buying some cards that can, help fit some things out better. And so I probably accepted, a few things under the floor or whatever the hell, but I didn't really care too much. But I mean, I think I sold off like 20 cards or something. And so now I'm feeling good. I mean, there's a ton of like, the thing that I noticed, and it's funny because I was, updating the projections and everything, and trying to get all the different players in there, and like, there's like so many dudes from last year that are like not even on a team this year, and like
I know,
like just like not in the league, and like people are hitting me up at Discord like, hey, where's this guy? Where's this guy? Like whatever. I'm like, I don't think he's like on a team because he's not projected to score any points like this week on fantasy projections or anything.
A lot of Kai Jones questions, eh?
Oh god.
Yeah. So like I don't know. I feel like there's a little bit of like kind of just get ahead of that and cut some losses, and you might be able to stack a couple bucks and buy some better things.
There was a great couple. So John from the Sorare team came on the show yesterday, live in studio, our first ever in studio guest. And somebody had asked the question. They were like, hey, is there ever going to be something like where we win one of these useless cards where it's like somebody who is now playing in Argentina? Like, is there going to be like a burning type mechanism where if I like burn, 10, even if it goes to like so rare coins or whatever? And John gave like a very good political answer. He was like, well, we don't view any of those cards as useless,
Well, he did mention the whole collection thing too.
Right, the collection bonus too. And that was,
yeah. It's funny you say you did that, John, because I logged onto my account with full intention to do the same.
And I somehow all of your cards.
I somehow no, I don't know if I bought John's, but I definitely somehow bought
bro.
a bunch of dude. Winyan's not on a team right now. I'm having an existential
crisis. But he is cheap right now.
But I ended up buying more cards.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did. I was like, oh, I have one Luke Cornett that could be interesting, and he's dirt cheap. Like, I'm just saying. So I gotta be a little more, I gotta get rid of some of these.
Jeb's got like 45 underdog lineups ready to go. He's got like 14 Luke Cornets. I think I'm just gonna host an 8. Oh, go ahead, John.
No, go ahead.
I'm gonna host an 8-hour show every Monday and Friday because for the first time ever, I didn't buy any cards heading into lock. And normally I'm like, let me see who can I buy the top of this week. And so I was happy I wasn't logged into my own account. I couldn't do anything with it. It does feel like
because you help people buy my cards,
That's right. And what you guys don't know is they pay me to say the certain players to go. Like Jeb's like, I'll give you $12, dude, if you can pump up Luke Cornett this week.
I'm like, dude, please just pump Winyan a bit. Like, tell someone he's coming back. I'm in shambles right now.
Ghost saying JBB slowly wading back in. Meanwhile, Jeb is scalping the Luke Cornett market. It does, like, again, whether you're making money off it or not, it does. I just like it was nice to have that juice back yesterday of like wading through some of the injury news. And I know we're doing a bunch of underdog drafts too and pick'ems and stuff like that. But it was just nice to have that juice back of trying to, project the slate. Even though
okay, so you guys know me. I get pretty into the spreadsheets, and I was locked in on NFL spreadsheets like Tuesday morning, updating stuff, like starting to rip drafts for Underdog on Tuesdays, like looking through all the shit. I haven't even touched my NFL shit yet, and it's coming into Thursday morning, and I've just been so deep into NBA, and it didn't help that I did well last night too on Underdog, and I'm like, shit.
What was your final tally last night? You had a top 10 finish, right?
Yeah, I had a 7th and an 11th place or something. So I did pretty good. I think I doubled up yesterday, which was great. And then what I was gonna say about Sorare this year is like I feel like last year I got into the mode of like not really buying too many cards because I just like had enough of different rewards and stuff, and I like my collection just wasn't very fluid, and I like kind of just stayed with like the same guys. But I think this year with the less rewards for each competition, that's gonna spark me to make it a little bit more fluid. And I did not. So what I didn't do was sell anybody high yesterday. So like if they had a good projection and they were priced up this week, I didn't really sell anybody just because like I'm still trying to figure out what the hell's going on whose teams and like who's actually value and who's just a value for this week or whatever. Maybe I should watch Mike's show. He could help me out. But but in future weeks, I do think I will try to capitalize a little bit on some of that selling the top of guys that just pop up if I have them, and then cycle that into like other players and just try to keep my collection a little bit more robust and a little bit more able to kind of do well. Because I feel like I just got into a rut of like finishing enough to get prizes, but not really finishing that near the top and kind of just in that cycle. But now since there's a lot less prizes, you kind of got to give a shit a little bit more.
TST, do you have any? Oh, good. Yeah.
There's just this week too, like to speak to John, like not selling any of those high projected, like because the caps stay the same. A lot of those players, like you could probably, if they're actually, especially if they hit this week, you could probably sell them this week. But I think it's also a good time to maybe mention the fact that like the whole listing and selling thing is gonna come into play. They said it's delayed now, but basically, like if you have a player in a lineup and you list them during the game week, it cancels your lineup, which is new to basketball. They've had it in the football for a while, and that was like a big deal over there to try to stabilize the marketplace, because it was like you kind of had to make a decision, because I guess a lot of people were just buying a player and then listing them immediately.
Right.
And I don't know how much of a difference we're going to see in the NBA market for that, but I do think it is like, it's like a little interesting. I don't know how many people were all over that and selling out of the players that they had in their lineup. Definitely at the end of the year, I bet people were doing that when it was just the tank season at the end there.
Yeah, that was something that was, I think, a little bit more prevalent in the NBA. You're right, like towards the end of the season or in the playoffs, like in the playoff run. Yeah. That was something. Wait, Reese, did he get hurt? I see you say Mark Williams just smashed the court. Is he okay? Keep us posted there, Reese. Oh, Jeb is back. Jeb, welcome back.
Did he like break the backboard?
That's what I was hoping. Yeah, I was going to ask, so TST, do you think so John was saying that he's going to try to be a little bit more on top of like moving off of some stuff heading into game weeks. Is that something that you're also doing, or do you think like you will just continue to be a fish and buy stuff like me?
I'd probably say a little more of just buying. I don't know. I'm just lazy when it comes to that, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I often like the selling the low cap player or whatnot. I just like, especially right now, like most of those are going to come around again. So I'm like, even if I'm not playing them, I'm like, well, whatever that situation is, there's a high probability that it comes around again, except for the players that are just like in new roles. But like any injury thing, like Draymond is going to not play again. And then Kuminga, and maybe Moody and stuff are going to like, it's going to cycle back around. Will Kuminga have a 5 cap? Probably not, because his role's already increased, but he might have like a 12 cap and it'll still be a good play. So they're like that whole stuff. But I get so caught up in like the injury type of news near lock that I'm looking just like who's changing and I don't like, my instinct isn't to go sell. Like my instinct is like, let's see what lineup I can put him in. And that's just because like I have a little more fun watching a lineup do well than, like profiting, if we're talking limited, like $7 here or there or whatever.
Yeah, I think the thing that I'm going to try to focus on this year is just owning less cards. Like I think that was something that I would just continue to stack instead. Not stack like getting a bunch of them. I was just like constantly buying stuff and not listing stuff. And I think part of that was I was like, oh, I'm going to be ready for the when the underdog comes or when the over 30 comes or the whatever. I think I'm just really going to put some effort into building out a good rare champion, a good limited champion, and then like whatever else I got. But I'm not gonna be trying to build 7 perfect lineups like I was doing last year, because that's a good way to just buy a lot of cards. It's not plus EV, if you will. I don't know anything else like from like a macro standpoint. I don't know, Jeb, are you approaching anything differently from last year, or is it like you still kind of in the same groove?
So I mean, clearly right now it seems like I'm in the same groove, but I agree with the whole downsizing thing, just because I have, I think, 131 limiteds alone.
So many,
and I think I have like 20 rares.
Jesus.
So that's a lot. Yeah. That's a lot. And because it's like I stack all, if we want to talk, how John was saying, oh man, there's so many players that aren't playing. I have just such an insane collection of players that are not playing anymore, because I was stacking all these dirt cheap guys being like, oh yeah. Just 1 week, if they slip in, we're headed to the moon here. So I think I do need to kind of shrink my collection down a bit, and just like maybe even like flip a bunch of tiny guys for one big buy. Okay. One player that I can be, because I don't really own even a limited MVP. I have like Kristaps and Zion, and those were my 2 big guys like throughout the season probably. So probably would be kind of cool to get in that upper echelon and get someone even at least on the limited level.
Yeah, you got to get a better MVP, man.
It feels good, right? Does it feel good having an MVP?
No, but like, I mean, unless Zion's something like Kristaps last year, you could make an argument is kind of in that level. I just don't think he's there this year. So, Jeb, you got to work on that.
Well, yeah. Who knows? I luck boxed into him because he was cheap, and I was like, oh, you know what? The ceiling's really high here, and I think this price is like significantly less than a lot of these other names that aren't as good. And I got lucky because he did well, and even then he got injured and like missed games. So I don't know. I definitely probably like need to consolidate into a real MVP.
That's what I need to do. I'm sitting here. I'm still waiting. I'm trying not to do it like right now. I'm trying to wait like 2 more game weeks and get in there. Yeah, Reese, that's what I do. Well, I haven't clicked buy yet, but that was the one I was monitoring. Either him or SGA. SGA is probably not the one to get. John, that's who you have, right? That's your main MVP.
Yeah, that's my rare MVP.
Okay, you don't seem too excited about it, though.
No, he's great. I mean, he's freaking sucking out tonight. But yeah, he's my rare horse, and then I ride my Giannis horse in limited. I sold my second Giannis. I was like, I think I won a Giannis.
Oh wow!
I think I like won a contest last year or something. I think I got a Giannis.
I remember that.
And Giannis limited, and I just freaking bought one or something. And I was pissed, and I'm like, oh, this is sick. I'm just gonna build up. I'm going to build up XP for the finals, and then I'll be able to run out 2 Giannis's with super dope XP in the finals because, you know, you could definitely use 2 Giannis's in lineups. And, anyways, it didn't really work, so I still had 2 Giannis's. But I sold one for like $180 or something yesterday. So I got a little bit of cash. So I'm trying to figure out what
we going shopping.
We may be going shopping. I feel like I don't know. I really like my like rare core though of like dudes.
Yeah, show us your core 4 dudes.
Let's see. Oh, you know what? Maybe I'll just pull up the Momentum Lab sheets.
Oh yeah, let's. And we are sponsored by Momentum Labs. You can find a link in the show notes.
Oh yeah. Wow. Thank you.
What's it? $98 a month?
Yeah, it's probably free if you ask the right people. Okay.
You do such a bad job selling your product, John.
Okay, let's see. 150%. All right, rolling down to my rare stacks. You have way too many limits. So these are the bros that I played in red here. But yeah, I got the Shea, and then like the Brunson and the Giddy are like the 2 guys that are like just in that weird spot of like 40 range. Like Shea's gonna go up, obviously. I don't know why he ended so low last year, but he'll go up. And then but Brunson and Giddy kind of hang on in that 40 range, which is kind of a shitty range to be in. But then like, dude, Bane, Franz Wagner, and Scotty Barnes are, and like even Sohan too, is pretty sweet little group of like 30-point bros. And I feel like I, you know, rifle those guys all around. And so I may look to like, you know, like sure, Rudy Gobert looks great. I'm never gonna play him. So it's just like I'm just never gonna play him. I'm always gonna pick the other guys first. So I may look to like get a little bit stronger there in the 30 range. And then so like I feel like the 30 range you can manage pretty well because those guys are gonna stay around the 30s and they usually have a ceiling that can get you into the 50s, but they're not gonna like, I mean, I don't know, maybe Desmond Bane without Jaw, he may be one of those guys that creeps up a bit, but like they're not going to be like a Brunson where they get to like 45 and then they become unplayable. And so that's why I really like that 30 range, and then just kind of just mixing it up a little bit with those different players. But then I feel like the 20, like once you start getting in like the 20s and the teens, that's where you're running into more of the pricing like boost for that week, right? And like people are looking at the values, and then you're having to kind of fight over that stuff. And so it's almost like trying to buy. I think the best strategy is to get a good core of guys in the 30s that you can cycle through and just pick the best projection that week, and then buy the guys in the teens and the 20s that have shown the potential, but do it in like their off weeks, right? So like do it when they're not a good projection or when they've jumped up a bit or whatever, and just try to like kind of play that game a little bit, because then like, and I'll be honest, Jeb, that's like where you should be focusing. Like, fuck these like guys that are worth $2. Like, get into the range where it's like the 8 to 15, and then like,
oh yeah,
dude,
no,
then you just cycle like then you cycle out, like you can play them, you can sell them, you can like, I don't know. I feel like you start making more money there.
Yeah, no, that's what I did last year, and that's what I'm doing this year. I don't want to. I'm working on a new video, but I mean, like one of the guys I bought, like I bought him after the game week locked, so there weren't people like I wasn't competing with anyone. If anything, like prices took a teeny little dip, and like one of the guys I bought was Joe Harris. Like I think he has a cap around that, and he's like dirt cheap right now, and I think there's a decent chance he has some like real ceiling games. Or at the very least, some like really good projections, and you could sell them for a lot. But I have a whole list of guys I'm already like kind of starting to look at and stuff who are kind of in that, not necessarily 8 to 13 range. I do expand it a bit more where I'm really, like I said, at the bottom there, scooping up a couple Luke Cornets. But I think there is a lot of opportunity there to just be in a great position to either build a optimal lineup or, you know, sell for a profit and turn that profit into like a player you actually are excited about.
Yeah. John, I was looking at your roster a little bit. You are in really good shape. Like you have a lot of guys right now that are going to jump up in cap, I think. Like Desmond Bain and Scotty Barnes, I think are going to be like pretty big monsters, at least for the first couple months. Like even Scotty, we were talking about Scotty a second ago, and I was saying how he like got off to a slow start and now he's up. I mean, I guess this is rare, so it's a little bit of a, like the fantasy point scoring is a little skewed, but he's got like 45 points, I think, fantasy points right now. And so, yeah, you got like a nice core there.
Well, yeah, Scotty's kind of balling right. He went on a little bit of a run here. He's also got 4 blocks, 2 steals, so that's helpful.
Also, and Mark Williams, man, 42 fantasy points right now.
Damn.
Their game's over too, so he crushed it.
Did LaMelo get there? I saw he had a double-double at least. He had like 15 and 10.
Yeah, he had scored 37 points, so he.
Hate you, Steve Clifford.
Really, it looks like I don't even think Tatum is a guy you need tonight. He's only.
You need Max Strus.
Yeah, but nobody drafted Strus. Oh, I'm talking about on Underdog.
I know.
And I would say Scotty. If some people went heavy Scotty, they're getting paid off pretty well because you did. Did you really?
Yeah. I put it in the chat. I went Scotty. I moved Scotty and DeAndre Ayton up in the in my ranks because I was just like, mainly because I saw he didn't get drafted in like almost like 10 consecutive drafts that I did. And I was like, man, I feel like, let me actually see how much I had of him before I start, jerking myself off here. I had
one lineup with Scotty, and I was like trying to get, I was just so freaking busy at work and I couldn't manage this 12 gamer like I wanted to. But
dude, let me get in on the sheet. I'll put some thoughts from now on in the sheets. 15% Scotty Barnes, 15.
Fuck,
not bad.
Yes. But you know what though? But while we celebrate our W's, let's remind ourselves of our L's. And 31% Zion Williamson. I haven't checked back in, but he was dog dick. Cool. Bring back Mariah. I don't want to like rush us out of here because if we still have stuff to do, we can still hit some things. I'm just looking at the clock and seeing that our boys Luka and Wemby are about to start, and it's like week 1. Is there any other things that I know? Like we are going to talk about UFC for a second, Chad, because you had a big weekend. But before we do that, is there anything else that we like? Basketball, Sorare, Underdog. I don't know anything. I guess, John, do you want to like just because I don't think a lot of people know about these dailies. Do you want to like give a little synopsis, I guess, of like what? Because I know TST, you're in Canada, so it's a tough scene. But we've been hammering these out aggressively the last 24 hours.
Yeah, I mean, so I'll give my pitch for Underdog. Let me pull up their website. just to put some visuals here, but
Ooh, Lorenzo said I had Jabari and Jalen Green and Rare Champion. Is that their only? You know what? Game week 2 though, baby. That's the beauty of game weeks. We got another one.
So like this, so this is the contest that they have up for tonight. I don't know if you guys can see this.
You can blow it up a little if you can.
Yeah, whatever. This is good. So, you know, these, and tomorrow's a 2-gamer, I think, right? Only 2 games tomorrow.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Suns, Lakers, and then Bucks,
Milwaukee.
76ers, yeah.
Yeah, so this is a little bit smaller. Tonight was 100K prizes, 10K to first, and like 22,000. That's pretty big. Usually it's in the like 5K to 7, 8K to first, and I think they'll likely. There's a lot of hype right now. It'll probably die down a little bit, and they'll stay a little bit smaller during football season. And then once football season's over, they'll open them up a little bit bigger. But anyways, the structure on these contests is great because it's, you know, the things that you would like to look for, and this is like on any site, right? So if you're playing DraftKings, FanDuel, like anything, looking at the structure of the contest is like super, super important in my opinion, and not enough people do it. So like an easy rule of thumb is just like the tens, right? So if first place is 10% of the prize pool, and 10th place is 10% of first place, right? So like those are like the 2 really easy things to double check, and the underdog contests always have that. So that means they're just, or I won't say always, but like traditionally speaking, the main contests have that structure. And then the other thing that's really nice is usually the men cash is double the entry fee, which I think is a plus, and it's not like $6 off of $5 or whatever. So anyways, we're psycho, or I'm a psycho. I like do a million of these things all the time, max enter them every day. But it is a really fun way to get a sweat, and it's a much easier way to get a sweat than on DraftKings and FanDuel, because on DraftKings and FanDuel, you have to be super on top of all the news. You have to be super on top of all the late news, whatever, right? You have to like really care. And then you're like, okay, who's the freaking guy for $3,000? I need to get in my lineup, or blah, 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 whatever. For this, like, you just draft, you start drafting in the morning, you can draft in the afternoon, you can draft at lunchtime, whatever. You rip some drafts. If you know there's a questionable guy that is ruled out, then then there's a swap feature, right? So if a guy gets ruled out before his game starts, you'll get swapped in another player of your lineup, right? And there's some nuance to it, and you can kind of like play around and stuff with it. But basically, like, you can either go into a draft and just do it, right? Or you can set rankings and like have your own rankings and like look at your different exposures and stuff like that. And if you're trying to do it seriously, that's how you should do it. But like, it is so fun. Like me and Mike started, or I think I started playing it maybe like a couple weeks before you did, Mike. And I was like, dude, this is amazing, or whatever. Like, just try this out. And I was having some success. And I mean, Mike and I both played pretty heavy, like not heavy, but like we played DraftKings, FanDuel, whatever, all the time. And it's freaking stressful on the days when you're like, there's so much shit going on. You're like, I don't really know what I just built. This is like so less stressful. It's such an easy way.
I'm saying I was somebody that sorry, did I just hit the space bar for that? I was somebody that was grinding that a ton, like FanDuel and DraftKings for NBA, and then switching. Like, you told me about this, and I was like, nah, dude, I'm a purist, man. I'm gonna keep grinding the DFS. And then I think you won, and I was like, okay, maybe I'll check it out. And like, it is a little overwhelming at first, because you're like, wait, am I just doing one of these? Like, I mean, you can, but I think like once you start getting a feel for it, and you can find different ways, like different wrinkles to it, and getting exposure to different guys, and it's just the sweat's the same, but the stakes are way lower when it comes to like pregame stuff. Like, you don't have to get Underdog fantasy alerts for every time Steve Clifford tells us LaMelo's only playing a couple minutes. But yeah, we've been having a lot of fun with it. So if you guys get into it, hit us up. We've been enjoying it. All right, are you guys?
They've been adding a lot of new contests too. So they always do like the main contest, but then they also have been doing a couple single entry ones. So it's like $20 and it's a single entry. They've also been doing some 20 max contests. So like, those are, people are always like, oh, well, I'm going up against, okay. So I'll put it this way. I think you're at less of a disadvantage in even the bigger contests, because like like I don't know, like for people that are doing 150 drafts or 150 teams on DraftKings, their spread of teams is a lot different than like me who's doing 150 drafts on Underdog. There's just like not as many swings as I can take on that, even though I tried to do it intentionally. So you're not really drawing dead against the 150 maxes. But even if that doesn't work for you mentally and you still feel like you are, some of these 20 maxes or the single entry ones I think are really cool. And so you can put down $20, you can get a single entry and you can have a good sweat. And you're only up against like 500 people and you can win a grand or whatever.
I think my single entry might be a little live. I mean, Jimmy Butler's disappointed, but I got Cade, Jimmy, Ant, Triple J, but I still got Luka and Kawhi going. Like just the fact that I haven't had any of my big dogs go yet.
Yeah,
will be fun. Yeah, I love it. I'm addicted to it. It's a problem. What's up?
Didn't Triple J kill you there? No,
it's not over yet. TST, you know, he's a big second half guy. You know,
he's gonna decide to rebound all of a sudden, right?
Yeah, or just block. He doesn't need to. Anything else you guys want to hit before we wrap? I want to go watch Wemby and Luka.
Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah, all right.
Harden's playing tomorrow or what?
No, he's not. No way, dude. No way. He didn't travel with them. I think he's definitely not playing tomorrow.
He said he was ready, and
they showed up to the practice facility.
Yeah, but then they said you can't come.
They said get out of here.
He's definitely making things uncomfortable for them, but it'll be so interesting to see what they end up doing. It's funny because I was just listening to on the drive back from work was listening to the Bill Simmons podcast and Doc Rivers is on it. And like this Doc was just in that situation. And it's funny because he's talking a little more freely than he would if he was the coach. Yeah. But he's still kind of like not being super straightforward about it. But the one thing besides the Harden stuff that I thought was interesting was Doc says that he thinks Maxey is like going to be an all-star this year. He said Maxey last year was ready. He said this year Maxey he thinks is going to be an absolute animal. So yeah, I'm very excited to see that.
You doing a little late
right now? Maxey is ranked behind D'Angelo Russell in tomorrow's slate, so I might need to go rip. Like,
oh my god!
Oh my god! I might need to rip a bunch too. That's such an easy pick.
All right, TSC, you got anything coming up these days? What's going on?
We'll see. A lot of baby stuff going on, so it's killing the.
Have your baby pick games.
Yeah,
you know, there you go. Like the Octopus
pick my lineup. Pick my lineup.
Have him pick over unders. Just put over unders in front of him and see which ones he picks, and you know, make a hard pivot with your content.
Dude, Sorare would share the shit out of that. John, what about you? Besides sign up for Momentum Labs to get those sweet projections.
Sign up for Momentum Labs. We got projections for Sorare. We got projections for Rumble. We'll try to figure out projections for OTM
Hoops Gold, Hoops Icon, Hoops Nuts,
Owners Club, dude. We got it all, man. We are just leader in Web3 sports projections.
Let's go, Jeff. Jeff, you're working on a video right now.
Like slowly, yeah. I'm like, I don't know when I'm gonna actually get it out, but I mean, I'm starting to just watch games and kind of see any players that I think stick out.
There you go. We're back tomorrow with the morning show, the NBA Bits back at 9. Now that I took a day off, then Friday we will. I don't know what we're gonna do on Friday yet, actually, because I'm traveling. We're still gonna try. We're still gonna do live before lock. Reese, I want to go. Like, I'm looking at the Celtics game. They're up 2 with 46 seconds left, and then Wemby and Luka's playing. So, Reese, you know what? I'm a tired man. My voice is sore. We did a lot of content. I still showed up today without a plan, but I showed up. All right, Jeb, get us out of here. Tell us about those dudes in tights touching.
Yeah, man, dude. UFC once again, just another week, another just absolute chaos. So John Jones gets injured, and that fight gets canceled between him and Stipe. And now it looks like Stipe is going to retire. They're not gonna try and reschedule that, which is kind of a heartbreaker because I mean. I think everyone wanted to see John Jones versus Stipe. And then so now Jiri and